What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with an unboxing video. I finally got off of my rather sizable haunches and decided to pick up a new mint on card figure, and he is related to an existing run in my collection. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen the big beautiful Bossk that I've added. Here is my existing collection that I've had for a while now. I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick overview of these in case those of you are new to the channel and would like to take a look. This is the very first Bossk I ever got, and I got it for a great deal. I think I paid $280 for it. And this is a beautiful unpunched Return of the Jedi Bossk. It does have a yellowed blister. And, you know, when I got it, I wasn't quite as picky about yellowed blisters, but, you know, these Return of the Jedi figures, as we've talked about many times on the channel, they usually do turn yellow because of the type of chemicals that they used inside the blisters. A lot of these Return of the Jedis used a fire retardant type of chemical that causes the blister to go yellow. And unfortunately, that's what happened with this one. This is a 77 back A Bossk, but it's graded 85 yellowed. And there are the sub-scores there, 85, 85, 80. A very nice example. A very nice example. And here's the back of the card. Nice, clean U.S. card. So that was the first one I got probably 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly when. The next one I purchased was this one. This is a free Neonum 48 back transition card. Gorgeous example. This is marked as clear blister, as you can see there. 80 grade overall, straight 80s. It looks to me like it's got a little bit of yellowing going on in the upper left-hand corner. This is probably a little bit new. I don't know if that was actually there before. And that's, you know, again, something that can happen with these figures. And one thing I will point out is that this one has the glossy limbs version. The Hong Kong figures came with either orange or olive heads. Same with the no COO, orange or olive heads. All of mine are the olive heads, the greenish heads. And then the limbs, the arms and the feet can come with either glossy paint or like a matte finish to the paint. These have the glossy limbs. The one that I just showed you, the 77 back, has the matte limbs. So you can see how much glossier the paint is on the 48 back transition card. But this is a gorgeous, beautiful card. And, you know, when I say transition card, what that refers to is anytime they switched over to a new line, such as going from Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, these 48 backs with the free Neonum offer only had Empire Strikes Back or original Star Wars figures. They did not have any of the Return of the Jedi figures on there. So there's only, you know, I guess the 48 figures in the line that have the Neonum offer sticker card backs. The next one I picked up from Darren, I can't remember his last name, I apologize, but he's got a beautiful tri-logo collection, and he sold off a few of his examples, and I picked up this one. As a beautiful unpunched Palitoy tri-logo. You can see how much richer and deeper the color is on the card back versus the US Kenner cards. Just a lot deeper and darker. It's set back a little bit further as well. That's something that the Palitoy tri-logos are known for. They just have a slightly different card back. Sometimes it's completely different images or airbrushed or edited in some way, such as the AT-AT driver. He doesn't have the chest apparatus on his card. Well, this is one of the more pristine examples you'll ever see of the Palitoy tri-logo Bossk. It is graded 85, 85, 85, 90. I mean, this is as beautiful as it gets for one of these Palitoy tri-logo Bosks. And here's the back of the card. This is just a beautiful case-fresh example, and I paid a lot of money for it at the time. There's no doubt. I think that given what prices have done since I bought this a couple of years ago, you know, obviously that the price is fair, but at the time, it was definitely an overpay, in my opinion. And then here's the last one that's been in my collection. This is the 65 back A. I picked this up probably about a year ago, maybe a little more. I don't know exactly when. This is graded 80, 80, 85, 85. Now, the 85 sub-score for the figure score doesn't really apply anymore because that weapon has come loose, unfortunately, inside the blister. And again, that's something that will happen over time. I bought it already like that. It's not like it came apart in, you know, since I've owned it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen to a lot more of mine. But this is the 65 back A. Obviously, the 65 back Bs have the two Ewoks removed from the blackout. So the blacked out Ewoks, shout out to YouTuber Blacked Out Ewoks. Those were on the 65 back A's. So a gorgeous example. Now, I finally did pick up an offerless Empire Strikes Back, and here it is. It is gorgeous. This is an unpunched 41 back D Bossk, and I'm really happy to add that to my collection. I've got a 41A as well, which I think I showed on the channel a while ago. That one is still at Collector Archive Services. It probably will be back later this summer, like July, August time frame, somewhere in there. But this is the one I just picked up, and it's really nice. Beautiful example. And again, it's got that faded kind of color to the card back, unlike the Palitoy. But here he is. He's got the glossy limbs as well, olive head. And here are the subscores on it. It's graded by Collector Archive Services, 41 back D. The subscores are 80, 80, 85. And again, I think that the 85 subscore for the figure is no longer applicable because that weapon has come loose already since grading. So this was just graded this year. But I think between grading and it returning to the seller, that weapon must have come out in shipping. So that 85 subscore for the figure is no longer applicable. Now, if this is a 90 grade quality figure, then the 85 would hold, because you always lose 5 points if the weapon comes loose. That's just how the grading companies do it. But I think that this figure score is truly an 85 if the weapon's in there, because it's got some defects, factory paint defects around the leg there. One little scratch right there. I think that, you know, if this was regraded today, that subscore for the figure would be an 80, not an 85. But I think that the overall score of 80 still holds pretty easily. The only real defects on the card are up here. You can see some very slight creases there. And then on the back of the card is probably the most noticeable. It's got a color-breaking crease right here on the back. But just a gorgeous example. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to explain the scores and where I think the subtractions were for the grades. And I think it was very appropriately graded. You know, this is definitely an 80 quality figure. It's got a very light crease right here probably from where the blister was attached to the card. A lot of these ESBs especially, they get a little crease right there from the blister being attached. But those are kind of the major defects. Those two creases on the back, and then on the front it would be at the hanger tab. But what an awesome example. Really happy to have that. And as I mentioned, I do have a 41A back, which has the survival kit offer sticker on the front there. I picked up that one on Rogue 5 Toys. And so we'll have, at some point later this summer, we'll have another one to add to this collection. But, you know, Bossk has always been a favorite of mine. And really, really happy to have finally an offerless ESB. I'd love to get a 32 back, but as we documented on the channel in the latest Hakes auction, there was a 32 back B that sold that was graded 85 by AFA that sold for big money. I'm going on memory here, folks, so don't quote me on this, but it was something crazy, like $2,600. It was well beyond anything I would have considered fair market value, and that number is just completely random and off the top of my head. It could be wrong, but I remember the number being completely crazy and well beyond anything I could afford. But I just thought I'd like to show this to you. This is my first big mint on card vintage Kenner pickup in a long time, since the 45 back R5D4 that I picked up back in February. So as we've talked about with collecting fatigue, sometimes you just got to take a break. And I think that my break was good and healthy. My only real pickups over the last couple of months have been some vintage collection figures, like the Clone Wars Tartakovsky art animated figures, the Droids card backs from Target, the Droids exclusives, a couple of loose figures, not loose graded, but loose figures, and some comic books. But, you know, other than the Darth Revan comic that was fairly expensive, this is kind of the next really big item I picked up in the last 2.5 to 3 months. And just really happy to have it. I included at the end of this video just a small slideshow with some close-ups in case you wanted to take a closer look at it. But let me know what questions you have. It's just really nice to finally get an offerless Empire Strikes Back card. It's just one I've been wanting for a long time, and I think once my 41A back survival kit offer gets here, that'll probably hold me for quite a while with the Bossk run. But it's just something I like to do sometimes with certain characters. Bossk, the AT-AT driver, Squid Head, Bib Fortuna, Cloud Car Pilot, R5D4, Death Star Droid. I've got 3 or 4 or 5 really favorite characters of mine that I either liked growing up or I still like today, and try to pick up alternate card backs where I like to. And I didn't get a good deal on this. I'll just be upfront there. This was very, very expensive and well north of where I was comfortable with, but I figured it's now or never when you find a nice, beautiful, unpunched, clear blister, offerless ESB Bossk. They just do not come up regularly, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on with the Bossk market right now, but they just very rarely come up for sale, and when they do, you either have to overpay for it like I did, or move along. And I've moved along on several of them where I didn't bid when I wanted to. There was a 47 back 4-LOM offer that was beautiful that I passed on, but I'm glad I did now. I'm glad I did pass, and as I said, I overpaid for it, but I'm happy to have it, and it's a real pleasure to have this on the channel and be able to share it with you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.